There we go.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Add it to the stream. Hello. I think that this is working.
This is working.
Picture, audio.
Yeah, so before we start, I just want to make a quick introduction for those of you who don't know who we are. My name is Morgan.
My name is Ryan.
And we are the founders, writers, creators of Cinemacy, which is a website dedicated to independent film. And we are so happy and fortunate, and it's quite the honor to be hosting the Euphoria Aftershow, because this is one show that we have been waiting for its return for such a long time. Like, we could finally wear our A24 gear.
Yes, if that wasn't clear already, we're fans of A24. All the movies, now their shows, they have a lot going on. So yeah, big props to A24 for delivering just another crazy thing. But yeah, I mean, so we're brother and sister, if you couldn't tell, or if we didn't say already. We both like movies. Morgan, you've been the previous co-host for the morning show, Aftershow. All part of Hollywood Critics Association.
Yeah. So this is our intro to the Aftershows, doing it together, which is really fun. Quite the doozy of
but enough about us. Let's get right to Euphoria season 2, episode 1, the premiere. It's back.
It's back. I watched the intro episodes, the 2 that were like the pandemic ones.
Right. There were those 2 special episodes after season 1 that they made during the pandemic. That was in this in-between period.
Right. And so I watched those actually yesterday. Better late than never. But going into this second season, I don't know if it's necessarily crucial that you watch those 2 before you jump in. If you haven't seen the in-between episodes, I don't know if that's crucial. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think that they add a little bit of storytelling, but nothing from those 2 special episodes seems to be taken. If you didn't watch those 2, then I think you'll still understand the story. Like, you know what happened at the end of season 1 with Rue and Jules. Yeah. So that's enough to know, but definitely they're standout episodes because of just how tonally different they are. They're just 1 or 2 people, maybe a few more people. So it's a big break from how the other Euphoria shows have been. So definitely, like, stylistically cool and different. And they shot it during the pandemic, which is still like super dope. And I guess that was like, a year plus ago. So it's been a long time.
Yes, for sure. One thing before we kind of jump into the recap of this episode, I do want to say that we have a very special sponsor that is going to be sponsoring the episodes, the 8 episodes that are in this season. And it's something that has helped us watching this episode, because you're here, you're watching this because you are watching Euphoria, and you know that Euphoria is a lot to take in, right? Like, it's full speed to the max,
all the senses,
intense.
All of the dread, all of the anxiety.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a lot there. So I want to throw it over to Ryan real quick to kind of just quickly talk about our sponsor.
Super quickly. You probably can't see it too well, but this episode was made possible in part by the Happy Labs CBD company. So this is a CBD company that has many different products of just CBD products, which is, the cannabis plant with 0 THC. So no psychoactive ingredients go into these products that they have. They have pressed pills, they have topical cream, and the whole benefit is for relaxation and rest. And they say the Happy Labs, based in Manhattan Beach, California, great company. They basically are promoting healthy and happy lives. I've taken the Happy Labs products. We both have. We both had one for season 2, episode 1.
Right, just to keep it chill, to not be stressed out during the episode.
Try and keep it chill, but did that really work?
No, and we'll get into why in just a second. But I wanted to send a quick shout out to them.
If you use the promo code HCA, go over to thehappylabs.com, check out their website, check out their products. If you're new to CBD, there's a lot of great links there for you to just understand what it is, how it could really benefit your life as it's benefited mine, I have to say. Use the promo code HCA for 20% off all your orders. And with that, let's get right into season 2, episode 1, Euphoria.
All right. I absolutely loved how they started this episode. I was not expecting it to focus on Fez. I don't think many of us were, because he was a pretty predominant supporting character in the first season. But I feel like, based off of how this episode ended, he's going to be a pretty big deal in the second season.
Yeah.
But showing how he grew up and kind of his whole backstory, because he's always been this kind of silent, lone wolf sort of dude who, you knew that there was a lot more behind the surface, and you know that he's this guy who is truly a good person at heart. Like, he cares about Rue and only wants the best for her. And while I was watching this, it kind of made sense that he's a family man, and like, he grew up with his badass grandma.
Yes, a motherfucking G,
Yeah.
as Rue says so artfully.
Exactly. But having that all be like family, and no wonder he tries to protect Rue and calls her his family, because for him, drug dealing is the family business, and he just wants the best for her. And so that made, I don't know, it painted a different picture of him and kind of filled in some gaps that I was missing from him in the first season. But I think starting off the second season, going into his backstory, only will set up this longer game of, okay, we're going to see more of Fez, but why?
Yeah, exactly. They were putting storytelling in place for Fez that showed that he was interested, had a possible like love interest that might happen. I mean, he was basically, like flirting with
Lexi
Lexi at the party, which is like, just try and think about the most two polar opposite characters that you could. Lexi, who is so straight and narrow, and then Fez, who had this, we know his backstory, and then we saw what happened at the end of the episode. We'll save that. But yeah, Fez is going to be pretty crucial to this season. And yeah, what a backstory to open the season. I mean, it would have been pretty predictable if we jumped right in and started with the people that we know. But I think it also just shows that these kids in the show come from pretty traumatic and terrible backgrounds. So it's
that's an understatement.
We should underline that. It's pretty obvious that that's why, you look at all of their terrible choices that they do. And sometimes they're, or for a lot of the show, you just see them as people who really can't help themselves make these mistakes after mistake. And something like that, where you see the just terrible circumstances of, how he grew up and how a lot of people truly do grow up. It just paints the picture as to like how you would get into, drug dealing or the gangster life or something like that.
Well, and he grew up so fast, he had no childhood. And so part of what I was also realizing is that he wants to protect Rue's childhood too, and her innocence, because he didn't have a choice. He was just forced to grow up.
Yeah. We got to shout out. Truly, just grow up already. I think we should shout out Fez's grandmother. In this episode, she is quite a baller. At first glance, I instantly recognized her as being in The Sopranos. I just finished The Sopranos this year.
Oh, right, you rewatched it.
I watched it for the first time.
You watched it for the first time. Oh,
yeah.
Well, good timing.
So I was ready when I saw her.
Yeah.
That
kind of makes sense. She's in The Sopranos, and now she's in Euphoria.
The HBO family is definitely top of mind here. So she is a motherfucking G. I mean, just to see her like command those scenes, who knows if we'll see her again, but walking into that strip club, which already just starting the episode and like the season 2 with so much nudity, so much crazy shit going on. It's like, okay, in case you forgot, it's been a while. We've had a pandemic. We haven't been on the air. We're back. And here she is. And she, puts a cap into a guy's legs. It's I was making noise. Here we go. Just truly badass energy. And what I think is great is when Zendaya as Rue says, like how many, well, it's actually, that's kind of getting into the episode, but when she says, how many drug dealers do you know that are women? It ties back obviously to Fez thinking of his grandma.
Yeah.
And Zendaya channeling excellent energy, saying, "We need more female drug dealers
Yeah,
in the
that's
world."
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, equality. I'm all for that. All for that.
Well, her walking into the song "Don't Be Cruel" too by Billy Swan, that kind of country twang, that was an amazing music choice, which I think we're going to talk more about the music a little bit later on in this after
lots
show,
of music for sure. Stay tuned for all of the takes on. I mean, that's one thing that Euphoria is also known for, right? Is just their amazing music that they weave in, and covers that you've never heard. Or immediately when "Don't Be Cruel" comes on, it's like, oh, Elvis. Wait, no, but this is like a sort of slowed down, cool outlaw take on it. It's like
a mind melting sort of cover for Rue's mind melting bender.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Wild.
I mean that was okay. So after that we have Fez, Ash, and Rue going to the house of
the ashtray backstory too was fantastic.
The kid eating it.
Yeah, so we got to talk about the performance of young Ashtray, who is like the surrogate brother of Fez. In the sink, his little jacuzzi, the hot tub, as Grandma says.
Couldn't you smell that scene? Like couldn't you smell the smoke?
They're like making
mustiness?
drugs, in the kitchen. Yeah. It's so bad. It's so musty and just food and stuff. I mean, not judging. It's just it's so cringeworthy how it's framed. And then when the baby grabs the cigarette, puts it in his mouth, kind of like the way like a pet or an animal would, and you're like, oh no, drop it, like get it out of your mouth now, and it takes out the little cigarette butts.
Gross. But now he's all grown up, and now he's a good co-pilot, I guess.
Good co-pilot. That's the kind of person you want on your crew who will just run through a house and jump on a guy and just start hammering him in the face if you need someone.
If you're ever in that situation.
Just one piece of hair. There we go. If you're ever in that situation, you need a kid like Ashtray to just like invoke insane mercy. That was intense.
I was gonna say, he's the silent but deadly type.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just in that one.
You should just cut it on live.
I don't think so. Yeah,
TV.
This has also been the pandemic cut as well. You've been wondering what we've all been doing during pandemic times.
Growing hair.
That's what we're doing.
All good. But that scene was intense. I mean, this episode did such a good job of making these scenes so intense and on the edge of my seat. But then somehow it one-ups in the next scene. You're like, how the hell are you getting more intense?
Mm-hmm.
And like it's insane. So when they go to the drug dealer's house,
when they cut to the present moment, so everyone's grown up. We got grown up Fez, grown up Ashtray, grown up Rue, who's now in the backseat too, and they're driving.
Mm-hmm. Who's still based. Well, I guess if you didn't see the middle two episodes, Rue has relapsed, which is not a spoiler alert, but well, actually, if it is, it's fine, because this is actually going to be full of spoilers. So
if you didn't know by now, we've been spoiling the entire episode. So join us, won't you?
Yeah. So Rue has relapsed, and it's very obvious from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And so she's not in a good place. The girl she meets, I would love to talk about her for a second. That girl, Faye.
Let's do it. It's
Oh,
cringe.
God.
So much cringe.
Any more filler, her lips would have exploded.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah, she is a girl with that look says it all. It's just like you meet her and she's got a look and you're like, oh, you've had a very interesting past, I'm sure.
Yeah, but amazing performance.
Amazing performance. I think maybe the funniest line of the episode when Rue turns to her and she says, Happy New Year. And the girl says, it's the new year.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. It is. Oh, my boyfriend doesn't tell me anything. Like, are you really on this planet? But she's so spaced out, strung out, of course. But that line is hilarious because it's like, you don't even know when New Year's is. Like, okay, so you're just really not here.
Yeah, you're not here.
So Fez and Ashtray go into the house meeting this drug dealer who they don't know for the first time. So it's already super tense. This is, I think the first part of the episode was like fun.
Fun?
Fun and like, it was,
For who?
Let me explain. It fun in a different sort of not so tense tension. They didn't build up tension.
It was so almost, the AR-15 was fun.
No, that's what I'm saying was
at
that point was where it started to get really intense and like just nerve filling. But the whole thing with the grandma, that's that whole part of the episode was like kind of supposed to be, I think, just like silly fun. The grandma's a character.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all
they
like,
ease you
terrible.
into it, sort of.
Yeah, and then once they get to the drug house, then it's like, okay, now it's not the past. We're in the present.
Right.
Here we are, and there's real circumstances. So these drug dealers, they grab Rue, they grab the other strung out heroin chick, Faye.
I'll never forget Faye.
Yeah, made an impression, Faye. And so they're in the house, right? And then it's tense.
Yeah, then it's tense. I will say though, I was so excited after that scene when it cut to the party scene. For me, that was like, okay, Euphoria's back. Like, this is what I know and like. This is a bluish, purplish hue of just tons of very beautiful kids.
Yeah, kids like the framing, the color. It looks like an art house.
The glitter, everything was just so perfectly set up. And seeing it was Jules and Kat, I think, walked first. And it's like, yes, okay. I've missed this. Like, I forgot how much I missed watching this.
Yeah, especially in this pandemic age, right?
Yeah.
Like where you see a house party, and it's not to say that I missed that because I've never known that in my life.
Well, that's like a baller house party. That's like a mansion.
It's like 500 high schoolers, like with Lamborghinis or whatever. Like in every square inch, there's the worst sort of like human behavior going on.
Right.
And it looks.
They don't know Natty Light. Come on.
Yeah. They go hard. But yeah, so getting to that point was like, okay, this is the Euphoria. We know here's these crane shots and all of the most intricate camera work that you've seen. I mean, so deceptive how much excellent camera work is going on in this show.
Oh yeah.
It's like you could watch it and it's just doing all of this zipping around and flying in and out and these one takes and brilliant compositions. Like it makes you feel like you are seeing everything at once, and it's like you're of that very drugged out energy, which I have a point that I'm going to circle back to in some of our later categories.
Yes.
But yeah, just quick shout out to cinematographer Cameron.
Yeah. So I mean, that I personally love when films, TV shows take place in one setting. I think it has to be very engaging. It has to be a good script to make that work and make it work well. And I think this episode did that really well, especially when you're thinking, okay, you have the bathroom scene, the laundry scene, and then inside and outside the house. And that was a majority of the episode. I would say at least over half of the episode took place in the house.
In the house on the New Year's party. Here we are at a high school New Year's party, classic Euphoria fashion. And yeah, it's like every room has its own just high stakes drama that you can live in.
Yeah. I was going to ask a question because I was thinking about this.
Before we go into that, can I quickly cap off on the previous scene, just so we don't go right past it? Which I think, so the use of the music in those scenes the drug dealer guy, and he tells them to strip off their clothes. Yeah. He's like, make sure you're not wearing a wire. And they play the song Right Down the Line. Right down the line. I won't sing too much on the show, but I had to get that point across. And it's so funny. Yeah. Auto-tune that away. His little dance that he does, it's like so creepy and weird. And it made me think of Reservoir Dogs, where they're using a song that's like this poppy song in Reservoir Dogs, where Michael Madsen's like cutting off the police officer's ear. He's using that famous song, and that was the same effect that I got, like his like little dance that he was doing, which because it was so tense and interesting and messed up. So there's a few like other film references that I found in the episode. again, I'll save that for later. Stick around.
Ooh,
That was just such an interesting moment. I mean, I just like that song. So
yeah, that's solid.
Nice. Yeah. It's they're doing it. So I'm sorry, cutting back to the New Year's party.
I'll allow it. Cutting back to the New Year's party. Yeah. So I was going to ask you, kind of based on everything taking place in one setting, did you have a favorite room?
Oh, good question. Favorite room. Well, I mean, I think that the most high stakes room was the bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favorite that I was drawn to it, but the fact that it had the most intense drama, I felt like that whole part of the episode with Nate, with Cassie, all of that was the most intense part. And there's so much comedy going on. It's almost like slapstick in a way. They have to be careful. It's like a closing of a door and closing of like a shower curtain, and like there's no toilet paper. And it's like,
oh God, the horror.
Yeah, true horror. And then it's just hilarious. So yeah, they really did justice to, a house party where you're banging on the door and someone has to pee and someone's in there, and it's like there's only one bathroom. It's like, is there really only one bathroom?
I was gonna say there's like there has to be more than one bathroom.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm like, there's got to be like,
people are up on the roof making out. Like you can go upstairs and use the second bathroom. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So I would have to say bathroom, but how about you?
Okay. I mean, bathroom. Yeah, that was a great room. I actually really liked the laundry room because Rue was saying she was going to die. And I figured that wouldn't happen because that would be a very odd choice for the filmmakers to make if Rue died.
Yeah, to kill off the new Emmy Award winning actress, which props to Zendaya for cleaning up over the year since then.
But that also, we get introduced to this other character who I think is going to now be a staple in season 2 because she's saying, oh, you're my new best friend. You're a new favorite friend.
Yeah.
This is another relationship I think we should keep an eye on because it might, it might be something.
Yeah. So this is Dominic Fike, right?
Yes.
Am I saying that correctly? I believe so.
With
Internet, please
Apple
correct me if I'm
tattoo.
wrong. I believe, yes, that's him. And he just looks like he lives in Euphoria, right? Like his look. And I say that, like props to you, man.
Like I'm jealous. I wish I
living well. But yeah, his seamless transition into this world was it felt so natural. I mean, here he is, and he's also like addicted to drugs, and so is Rue. So of course there's going to be that connection there. I'm curious to see what he does in this season. He seems to be someone who wasn't like off the rails, crazy party guy. He was very thoughtful. And then that episode or in that scene where Zendaya is essentially like kind of overdosing, or she's not sure, he's like taking her pulse and her heart rate like on his iPhone.
Right. So he knows what to do. Like he's been in that situation before. Very
responsible drug user.
Yeah, that exists.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's at least just keep the iPhone and the pulse readings close by.
All right.
I hope they do. But yeah, that's a good one. The whirlpool fixer guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
so I mean, we have to talk about the Jules and Rue reunion.
Yeah.
It kind of went as I expected it would go. I don't think there were going to be like a massive hug of like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. Cause they're still kind of at odds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's awkward.
Heartbreak, you know how that is like when you're in high school and there's so many emotions and add in all of this drugs and emotions and all this stuff. Yeah, I think they handled it well.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially being New Year's Eve. Like how many times have we gone out on New Year's Eve thinking, all right, the expectation is going to be this.
Oh,
it's always like New Year's Eve is the one holiday that is usually so you get this like expectation hangover when things don't happen.
That's good. Yeah.
When you want them to. And
yeah.
If
you're not in Euphoria celebrating New Year's Eve, it's like borderline like 50% that you had like the worst day of the year or something. Right. Or it was just such a bummer or a letdown. But yeah, they reunite and it's immediately that connection, that spark is still there. But there's a lot of history that's happened. I mean, you know, like basically they're trying to, are they together? Do they want to stay together? But Rue is so gone. She's so out of, you know, she's like wondering, like, has she relapsed? Jules asking her if she's like relapsed, and of course she has. And there's that, there's that care that she has for her that is so good about her character. And it's like, how much is she going to be beholden to Rue?
Right. Well, and that's one thing too, knowing that Rue has relapsed and she's not of sound mind. Do you even try to talk about like a relationship, or where are we, or what are we, or is this, because will they remember? Like, this isn't someone who's using that heavily isn't the same person that is sober or not using. Or so the Jules that's talking to Rue, like what version of Rue is she getting?
Yeah, that's such a just a roulette spin of the wheel. Like
roulette
you don't know.
Spin.
Oh, okay. Let's. That's probably a given by the writers, but if not, then we'll. Yeah.
So I mean, the ending too. There's a lot of stuff in between that I think we're going to talk about when we have our special segments.
Yeah. Well, let's touch on. Okay. Well, yeah. That is the climax, but even right before then, I think the biggest new part of the episode was the pairing between Nate and Cassie, right?
Yeah.
So let's remember that. So they're at the liquor store,
right?
And Cassie's outside, and she got out of the car because she was upset. And so who else is there but like, you know, the worst person in the world, like, you know, Mr. Enabler himself.
Yeah.
And oh my God, so cringeworthy. So they meet, and of course, maybe they're like starting up a thing because, of course, you know, kids are kids, and they all just like sleep around and like are just each other's.
And Nate asking her, "What, like, you're a relationship girl, aren't you?" She's like, "I'm trying not to be." Easy prey for him because he doesn't want a relationship. He just wants what he wants when he wants it. And
because he's still going out with Maddie, though, right? Like, aren't they together?
No,
not really.
No.
They're okay.
I don't think
not so one-to-one exclusively.
No, they're not. I think they'll always be playing this kind of cat and mouse thing. They will always want to make the other person jealous.
Yeah.
But they'll never admit that, and they'll always just kind of do this dance.
Right, which leads to like almost the climax of the episode, one of the climaxes. But before then, like driving to the party, drinking beers, going 100 miles an hour. Like this is
God.
Like, okay, we don't have to say don't drink and drive. Like there's drinking and driving, and there's like just the most idiotic, insane. I mean, obviously fake, but it was so stressful to see. Those scenes that were just, I mean, he's slamming beers. She's drinking in the front seat too. They're going 100 miles an hour plus. Yeah. And when they're just like whipping by the windows.
That was intense. That sound design was like insane.
Yeah. Oh my God. My heart rate is just
And racing. The close up too of Cassie's fingernails just kind of digging into her leg. Because haven't we all been in that situation where
hopefully not
someone
that
one, but No, I haven't, I swear. But a situation where someone is driving kind of erratically and you're just like, okay, can you?
Yeah, traffic or something. You tense up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh God.
That's what our mom does whenever we drive her. She holds onto the thing and just is like.
Yes, we all have our way of self-soothing. And Sandra, we love you for it. So yeah, it's super tense. And then of course the spill the beer, and what does she have to do? She has to unbuckle the seatbelt so that she has to dry off her dress and like go out the window.
Yeah,
I mean, it was almost comical. Like,
right. Well, then takes her underwear off.
That is it leads to the kind of the sexual tension that leads there too. It's so cringy worthy. I think we both looked at each other. Like that was for me the most tense part physically of the episode.
I mean, calling back another A24 reference, I thought it was going to be like a Hereditary moment where Cassie's head just gets smashed off.
Yeah, spoiler alert for Hereditary, but you know, you should have seen by now. That was tough. So then they get to the party, and of course they're just like, you know, horny humping bunnies like in the bathroom. And
high schoolers.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they are, right? Yeah. And that was such great writing to pit these characters into these situations and then deliver it with such high stakes too. Like, this isn't just, it's not like Degrassi or Gossip Girl, where it's like if you catch someone cheating on someone with you catch someone cheating on someone, then it's like, oh, now I'm mad. But it's like, no, each of these characters is like a box of TNT. Like, and if they get mad or erupt, like there is true consequences to pay. So whether it's Maddie finding Nate and Cassie hooking up in the bathroom or any variation of that is just so tense. So that was a lot to process.
Right. A lot of blood in this episode too. I mean, the beginning of the strip club scene with poor dude.
Poor
ouch.
He might have, really been a terrible family guy and maybe he got what was coming, but goddamn, Fez's grandma, motherfucking G. You gotta, hashtag that. And then, a little ashtray jumping on the face and hammering away.
Right.
Like there's all of these. Yeah.
Well, and then to end on Fez.
Cuts at the end of Fez. Yeah. Fez has been strung along throughout and, it started with him and it ends with him.
Right.
And you didn't see that coming because his demeanor is so chill. Like you feel like all of his brain cells have all been like fried away. Plus he's just like a very internal character. Yeah. It's like a pairing of those things. And he's getting closer to Maud Apatow's character as well. Lexi. Yeah. And to see that be so genuine and like earnest. And even though, he's this like really hard living gangster and she's so straight laced, there seems to be like a connection there out of all of that. But then he gets her number and she's thinking, oh, maybe they'll hang out. He wants to see her again. So it seems very sweet.
Do you think she'll call him?
You know what? If I was to predict, I think that there's something there. Mm-hmm. I think for sure they're not just going to. Because she's so, even and clean that I think that is like enticing. There's a look that they exchange after he beats the ever living life out of Nate. Yeah. And there's this look that they exchange, and it just shows that there's like a recognition there. And I think that there's understanding in some way, or I don't think that she's, for probably the worst reasons, going to be done with him.
Right.
Which is going to have a lot of implications.
I mean, maybe she's a love addict. We don't know.
Yeah, we haven't really seen a lot of her in the first season. She's always been like, just the sister to Cassie, who's been, played by Sydney Sweeney, who's she had a whole lot to do in this episode, and she has always so much. Her character just needs to like carry the world on her back. She's such a frail,
so expressive. Her eyes are so expressive against the door like this.
Yeah.
Wow. I felt that
when Maddie's banging on the door and the door is rattling and it's hitting her head.
Right.
She acted that perfectly. Yeah. Like whereas Zendaya is very much like kind of getting, where she'll tune out and get drugged out or something. And Jules is also expressive. Like the underwritten scene stealer of this episode is is Sydney Sweeney. And she's, getting all these new film roles and TV roles too. Like we're seeing, she was in that indie thriller Voyeurs, and she was just on HBO's The White Lotus. So she's getting a lot of these great parts and she's delivering. Like she was fantastic in this episode.
Yeah. She has a lot of anxiety, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas, good point. Rue is very chill and bad things happen to her and she just kind of, whatever, it's like it'll be fine mentality, whereas Cassie, bad things happen and she freaks out.
Yeah.
And so it's more, as an audience member, more tense watching a scene with Cassie, at least, well, for me.
Yeah, in at least some of this, this episode seemed to be,
for sure.
Yeah, so she knocked it out of the park. That whole new love triangle that's there.
But I don't know if she's going to go back with Nate. I think maybe they hooked up, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a relationship that's ongoing. So
to that point, and I think that what I could see is that she pretty much admits to the audience and to everyone. She says, what's this line? She says, she has this crisis of conscience where she's saying, I don't think I'm a good person.
Yeah.
She says, I don't know if I'm a good person. And she says something along the lines of, I keep making the same mistake twice, or I can't stop making the same mistake.
Oh, right.
So she says, and I feel like that's almost the whole show.
That's
the ethos of the show.
When am I going to learn from my mistake?
Right. Because you can make a mistake and then you can, course correct. Of course, I say this not being that person in real life as well, only just being human. I think that is so telling of her that she openly says, I keep making the same mistake twice.
Interesting.
So I think that already, positions her, and she hasn't shown that she's denied, people's affections, beauty and stuff. And
she's so insecure that if someone gives her attention, she's that's the bait, she'll go for it. And not that that's any fault of her own, but I think that's just, she's so broken in a way and needing that sort of attention. And she gets it in sort of the wrong way. She gets it all based on looks and sexuality and just what she can do for guys. And it's not, no one ever sees her as her.
Yeah, because maybe she doesn't know who she is. She's not standing up for who she is.
Whoever she thinks she is a bad person. Like, that's all she thinks she is.
Right. And to that point, that just made me think about the special episode with Zendaya, part 1. I think that was such a brilliantly written episode where Rue says that she's just she's unforgivable and she's just a bad person and she writes herself off. And Coleman Domingo, who we should shout out, was just incredible. Masterful in that episode. Truly incredible. He was great in that. He was great in Zola, another A24 title. Check it out. Truly is incredible in that movie too. And I think that is what these kids are reckoning with. They're reckoning with their morality. They're reckoning with their desire and impulse. And that is such a human thing to have desire and impulse. And in this day and age where it's the age of the internet, the age of fast drugs, sex, and everything else, it's so hard to control your impulses, which is what's plaguing these kids in this generation. And this is none of this is really real life. It's very heightened. However, I don't know. I mean, this is the mindset, what they're tackling, like depression, drug use, all of these really mental illness and all this stuff. These are very real concepts. Sexuality. It's super real. And that's why I feel like the show is so crucial. It is such whether it's maybe flashier, it's more Hollywoodized version of it. And of course, all these kids are just super glamorous Hollywood A-list actors, which, by the way, they all look like pure tens at the premiere of this on the red carpet. Everyone came ready to play. They were just looking great. But of course, what
would you expect? Of course.
What would you expect? So, but going back to what is this is what I feel like is the crux of the show is there. She says, I don't know if I'm a good person. Keep making the same mistakes and not learning from them. So we'll just see more of that. And there's a reckoning with morality. And at one point, Fez is talking about God. Do you believe in God? He's at a party where there's all this shit going on, New Year's party. And he's asking, do you believe in God? And these are the things that are on kids' minds, but they also have to reckon with addiction and violence and everything else.
Well, and that was one thing that they said earlier on in the episode too, with the grandma. And I think it was Rue said it in a voiceover narration, but it was something along the lines of violence can be a way to solve a problem. Like, for better or for worse, violence can solve a problem. Not that you should use violence, but it can get the job done. And we kind of see that at the end. I mean, we see that throughout the whole episode, but especially at the very end. With Fez.
That's all he knew. That's all he knew that's how he was modeled. It ties back to the grandmother who just walks up to someone, has a crowbar, and just bashes him from behind. She shoots the guy in the kneecaps. It's like, that is, he can't do anything else because that's how he was modeled. He was raised. That's a good assessment.
Well, I think this is a perfect time to kind of jump into our categories. This is something that we thought would be fun to kind of break down the episode, but also give out special, I guess, awards in a way. I don't know. How would you describe this?
Yeah, I think that, we recapped the episode. Hope you guys were staying tuned, stayed along as well. If we missed anything, if anything else, that you want to talk about, because obviously people will be talking about this episode all week. The conversation doesn't end here. In fact, it starts here. So as far as, the synopsis, what were the things that you wanted to see, more of? There's so much going on. So definitely follow up, in the comments to that end. But I think we can move on to some of the highlights of the episode in different categories. And I think that we can just jump right into it.
So let's start with favorite moment from the show. Okay. What was your favorite moment? If you had to pick one, just one.
Yeah. If I could just pick one. So obviously the Don't Be Cruel cover is going to be on my new Spotify playlist, but that wasn't it. My favorite moment was the one shot of, I think it was Ashtray, or it might have, no, I think it was young Fez. And he is cutting up a line of what possibly might be cocaine. And what is he using? He's using a Blockbuster card. A Blockbuster membership card in the plastic card. What a throwback to, nostalgia. That culture. Obviously, all the 90s kids all just, erupted with seeing the Blockbuster card. But it's also, HBO is recognizing that is, they're no longer around. Like that is a little sly joke. So I don't think anyone has their Blockbuster cards, but if, it just shows all the ways you can use it. That was my favorite moment in this episode, was seeing that card.
That's so good. So I think my favorite moment was when Cassie was in the bathtub and she was just curled up trying to not make a sound. She's also very drunk. So when things like time just kind of slows and you're just like, oh my God, and things feel so much bigger and worse than they actually are. The camera pans down towards her feet and her heels, and you see her cell phone and you're like, no, it's going to ring. It's going to ring.
And she's been trying to get
and Lexi has been trying to call Cassie. Yeah. And then it cuts to Lexi calling, it's ringing. It cuts to the phone, but the phone doesn't ring. And to Lexi, it goes, beep, beep, call failed.
Yes.
The first time.
Yes,
and you're
there were the first couple of call fails that.
But it was set up thinking, ultimately that does happen. And that was very expected. That wasn't a huge surprise. But what was surprising is that it didn't happen the first time we saw the cell phone.
Right.
I thought that was really smart.
That's a good observation. That is smart. It just heightened the senses as to what else could happen too.
Yeah.
I think the second funniest moment in the whole episode, which that just made me think of, was when the guy that Maddie's hooking up with was like, yo, there's a passed out chick in this tub. And she was like, so you want to dance? And I was just like, that is hilarious. Like, of course you wouldn't even think to look over the tub. And that's how.
That must happen all the time.
Yeah. And she's so just the most, badass, chick that she's such a badass. And I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, good. Great. Favorite moments.
Sweet. Okay, what about our second category, which is your favorite needle drop moment?
Yes.
You kind of alluded.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself talking about the music already. Favorite needle drop moment. There's so many good music moments. I think I enjoyed the song right down the line, and while the strip search is happening and the guy's doing the weird dance, but I think with the song that I'll be returning back to is the Don't Be Cruel cover. That was, I never heard it before, and it's probably, I don't know if it's new.
Oh, no? It's been out for a while.
Oh, really?
Oh, wait, the Don't Be Cruel cover.
The Don't Be Cruel.
I thought you were talking about the Down the Line one. It's like, no, I think that's been out for a long time.
Yeah. Because they played that. They played Steely Dan. They played all this weird 80s prog rock in that one episode, or in one scene with the drug dealers. Steely Dan and that one. But of course, all over the place. But so I would say my favorite needle drop was to open season 2, Don't Be Cruel. And do I have the artist's name on that?
Yeah, it was Billy Wave.
Okay. Shout out to Billy Wave.
Swan.
Billy Swan.
Sorry, something with water.
Wave to the Swan.
Billy Swan. Yeah. I loved that too. I think that was maybe one of my favorite needle drop moments. I will say though that the composer Labyrinth is incredible, and I Shazammed one of the songs that happened to just be a piece of score, so there was no words or anything. But honestly, go on Spotify, check out the Euphoria soundtrack. I would assume it's out now because it popped up, but the score is incredible. It's very tense, and it fits perfectly to this show. I did notice something interesting though.
Yeah.
So the car scene had the Orville Peck song called Dead of Night.
Dead of Night.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ending song was by Cutting Crew. And the title of that song is I Just Died in Your Arms.
I just died in your arms tonight.
I'm going to mute this. But there's a death theme here. And
Absolutely.
the title of this episode is called Trying to Get to Heaven Before They Close the Door. So there's a lingering sense of death,
mortality. Yeah, trying to get to heaven before they.
So
close
who's
the door.
gonna die? Okay, no, we'll save that for another prediction.
Wow, I love that. That's such a great connection. I didn't even think about those songs and the title as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because the Orville Peck song felt a little out of place in the driving scene because it's kind of a slower song for such an intense scene.
But it had this outlaw sort of sensibility to it.
It worked. I mean, obviously it worked. I'm not saying. I mean, you could have picked a lot of different songs to go in there, and it would have worked just as well. Yeah. But the title of it has a lot to do, I think, with making that scene work.
Right.
If you know it.
Yeah.
But
can we give an honorable mention to the song that Zendaya is rapping the shit out of in the car? I think it's by Tupac. That's on Panuelo de Tupac Crisito. That's what I Shazammed. But when she's rapping in the car and Fez is like, Rue, like, yo, like, shut up.
Yeah, you're annoying.
She's just going like so hard. She's
out of it.
She's out of it. She's a little hopped up, but like she's also kind of killing that song. Yeah. So more Zendaya rapping in season 2, please.
Yes. Sweet. Okay. Number 3. What is your WTF moment?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many what the fuck moments, but the one that I was just couldn't even like fathom was Ashtray and the hammer to the face. I mean, the fact that he is running like this little ninja, it reminded me of like Kill Bill or something, like where he's just this ninja running through sorry, I keep doing this. I'm so excited that he's running through the house and he jumps on the guy and he's this little kid. I mean, that's the whole point, is that he's a little kid. He doesn't say anything and he just, takes a hammer to these 2 guys' faces. I didn't expect that. No. And that to me was so shocking. And I mean, there's a lot of other tense moments, but that one specific moment was like, okay, now I know that I will, never mess with Ashtray.
Right.
Yeah. How about
that?
You?
Was good. Honestly, I want to say it was Faye's lips.
Faye's lips, out of all the bloodshed, Faye's
lips and her injecting heroin into her crotch.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. Yeah. That's a little.
Because when I first saw her, I was like, God, that was terrifying. And then she gets in the car, talks to Rue for a second, very out of it, and then just starts to lift her leg and ouch.
Yeah. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah. God damn.
And she's just ripped out of the car right after the shot. Like, my God, that is
bad night for Faye.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder where she ended up. If she was at that party or if she ended up, all the best to her.
Hopefully in bed, tucked in. Yeah. Bottle of water next to her.
Yeah. Gatorade and she'll be fine. That's great. Okay. So the next category, memeable moment. What moment in the episode was the most meme worthy? If you could, right after this show, create a meme.
Create a viral meme.
Yeah. What would it be? I don't know what exactly it would be. I think that the something along the lines with Ashtray eating the cigarette, get like the little baby eating the cigarettes kind of, I don't know. It has this like over it. I'm so over it sort of mentality or joke to it. Like, Mondays or whatever it is. I don't know. Like
Mondays.
I feel like it's just like Welp or like, SpongeBob kind of like getting up. I don't know. That's what I like. I'm going to head out now or something because he just can't handle it. It's like him eating the cigarette butt for me. It was just like, I don't know. That's what it's ringing with me.
Yeah. Okay. I like it.
Yeah. Do you have any memeable moments?
Yeah. Jules says it. And I can picture it being maybe a GIF or maybe just a picture with the block text underneath when she's talking to Kat and she says, I'm just trying to black out so I forget this whole year.
Yes,
That is my meme.
100%. Yeah, mic drop. I'm just trying to black out so I forget this whole year. So relevant.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, maybe we'll make that meme and share it, because I feel like that's people need to also experience that.
Yeah, that's not just a singular thought. I think that's
No.
that's shared by many.
Yeah, if you think that's a great idea, let us know. Let us know your memeable moments, as well as all of these categories.
Yeah, maybe we'll make a couple if you let us know some fun ones.
Yeah, let's, we're all in this together. And I think that brings us to the last category, which is, what are our predictions for season 2, episode 2? And, maybe the whole rest of the season looking down the line. But what do we think is going to happen in the future for these characters?
Honestly, I do think that Lexi is going to call Fez.
Mm-hmm.
I think she sees a wounded person in him, but a good person as well, even though she just witnessed him smash a bottle on his face.
Yeah.
And tear his face apart.
Yeah, he has a sweet heart.
He does. And Lexi needs someone to be with at parties. She's always alone. In the first season, she goes to a party and like her friends are her friends, but her friends are also kind of very different than her, which, hey, I relate. but she always is alone. And
she's the girl who's like walking around trying to get like a hold of her sister. Obviously, she's concerned and not making fun of that, but she's like spending her New Year's just like calling her sister 500 times.
Yeah,
like,
and all of her other friends have just like gone off to like their own people, and she just sits on the couch. And Lexi deserves more, so maybe she'll find love with Fez.
That's gonna be an interesting love, and hopefully she knows what she's doing. Like, just buckle in, like literally just make sure that you're playing it safe. But I think so. Yeah, there's something there. Now there's like another stake for Fez too. He was previously this guy who unattached. He didn't have anything besides his family, his makeshift family in Rue. But now if he has more to lose, which it pits him versus Nate. Actually, my prediction is I'm just wondering if Nate's gonna survive or come out of a coma or be in a coma for the rest of the season, because my God, his face was just beat into a bloody pulp.
Yeah,
that I think you saw like just a piece of flesh fall off or his jaw or something. It was, not to say that homeboy didn't put himself in that situation, just being the biggest dick. It's like he's.
But he had it coming, because in the first season, Nate totally screwed Fez over with getting his house raided and stuff. So Nate had to have known Fez was going to retaliate.
And he says it, right? He says when the last thing you said to me was that how you were going to kill me.
Right.
And it was. And so, and I have to say that moment, I forgot to actually mention what I was going to say earlier, but that the whole New Year's counting down to a moment of violence, talking about film references, reminded me of Boogie Nights. Because when they go from 1979 to 1980, there's that moment where William H. Macy infamously, has a handgun, and the jarring shock in Boogie Nights is that he blows his head off, and and then it's the 1980s. So this is the new year. Welcome to it, people. What's the first thing that happens in this new year, but just the most bloodiest, face pummeling that you've seen on camera? So I remembered Boogie Nights earlier. For that scene, and then just cutting back before we go, I remember wanting to say that I thought that the whole Fez's grandma's a motherfucking G, that whole story was done. It was like a callback to Goodfellas. And it was so.
What are you, like a film critic nerd or something?
Go to cinemacy.com for more. But no, truly, how the camera moved. They're making all of this.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And even totally using Harry Nilsson's "Jump into the Fire." When I heard them play "Jump into the Fire," that's literally the end of Goodfellas, where Ray Liotta's all coked out and they're making the drugs. So I was like, oh, Scorsese. Oh, Paul Thomas Anderson. Oh, Tarantino. I hope that some of these things were intentional, because
for sure.
There's a lot of just things that I was recognizing that have to be intentional.
Well, and a lot of that you're saying is music based, and shout out to music supervisor Jen Malone, who I've worked with before in the past at my other job doing music supervision, and she's incredible, and she just knows what to put where. Yeah. And everything we've referenced is so crucial to what made this episode so good.
Yeah.
So shout out, Jen.
Shout out. Hope you're watching. We like your work. Keep going.
Yeah, it's incredible. So Yeah, predictions. What about Nate and Cassie? Do you think they'll hook up again?
I think they will. I think going back to Cassie saying that she, makes mistakes and doesn't learn from them is just the show. That's what all of these characters do. They make mistakes and they don't learn from them. And there's this, I think that there's a chemistry between them too. Like them together wasn't exactly dull. It was kind of like, steamy. Like they're very, like they were shooting sparks, like for sure. So I think that there is a lot of chemistry there. And of course it just pits her versus Maddie, together in an interesting way. And also just gives her, Cassie, like an interesting storyline. Like she's now being, in the center of the lens. She doesn't have her side story. She's proven herself that no, she can go toe to toe with Jacob Elordi and and I think that that's very fascinating. And I want to see them actually, for as much as like I'm cringing my way through it, I want to see the terrible choices that they make together, because I think it's going to create a lot of growth and definitely way more destruction.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, we have to talk about Rue and Jules quickly. Like, where do we think they're going to be in the next episode?
Well, I think it's dependent on how deep Rue goes into her drug use and how much she spirals. I think at a certain point, Jules is just going to say, I can't do this. Like, I am going to bow out if you're continuing to go down this line of addiction and whatever else. So I could see season 2, them kind of straying a little bit. Maybe Zendaya and Dominic Fike are having their own story, and maybe
that's what I was going to say. I feel like maybe Rue and I forget his character's name, but like they might become something of, they're both kindred spirits. They both have this thing in common.
Elliot.
What
a great grunge indie rock name. Elliot.
Rue and Elliot. Yeah, maybe, and then towards the end of the season, Rue and Jules will be like a magnet and come back together. But I don't see them getting together so quickly, because the whole point of this show is that nothing's easy.
No, it's
and
tense.
Nothing makes sense. And so that can't happen. That just can't happen.
Yeah, I think so. It leaves us wanting more. Very tension, very uncut gems, just so much nervous, manic energy that I was thinking, hey, keep plugging A24, because like they're going right into the well, and they're like, oh yeah, we also made Uncut Gems and Good Time. That's right. Like,
let's just shake this up.
Let's just put more of that in there.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, this was a very big episode, and there's only 8 this season too. Last season there was 9 episodes. This time there's 8.
Yeah.
So we're packing in a lot in slightly shorter amount of time, which is going to be exciting. That just means every episode is going to be packed with this again and again and again.
This much intensity. It's a Sunday night, and hopefully this is going to be something that you enjoy watching. But obviously you're here. They're doing such amazing work on this show. They're just redefining like, what is modern life? What does it look like? It looks beautiful. These people are beautiful. All of these choices.
But the trauma and problems are real, and they might be on a larger scale here and more extravagant, but these are issues and problems that people deal with all of the time.
Yeah, the pandemic is making it a different sort of problem with, people experiencing mental health issues, maybe in more singular ways, not big, house parties while school is shut down, but it's still so, yeah.
Do you think COVID exists in Euphoria world or no? Because I hope to God not. But the masks would be fabulous.
Maybe one shot of the masks, but I think that they have to worry about other things that they might be transmitting between themselves at parties. Like, I don't think, unfortunately, COVID is the only thing that they have to worry about. It's like, how much protection, dear God, is everyone using at these parties? Because I think that that's where you should really put your priorities. I don't think that they'll acknowledge COVID in this other fish to fry.
Yeah, good point. Well, thank you everyone so much for watching. This was a fun first episode. And if you haven't already, follow Hollywood Critics Association on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram. If you feel so inclined, you can also follow us. We're at Cinemacy. That's the website that we created that covers and supports and champions independent film and art house film and filmmakers and A24. We buy all the merch. So if you like those types of movies, if indie film is your thing, then check us out too, cinemacy.com. And we're also on all of the socials except for TikTok because we don't live in Euphoria world.
Yes, we don't live in Euphoria world by that stretch, as well as others.
Yeah.
But yeah, find us on our socials, Brian J. Rojas.
Yeah, Morgan Rojas.
And hopefully you guys enjoyed, let us know in the comments here, though. I know that was like a ton of socials. We want to hear from you. Like, we're here for 8 episodes. I hope you guys join as well. This was super fun. And, this is a very diverse show with a lot of takes, a lot of different characters, different backgrounds, ethnicities, ages, sexualities, all that good stuff. We want to hear, how closely people identifying the things that that you want your voice to be heard. We're listening. We will definitely read your comments throughout the week, and we'll be back next week, same time, and we'll look to get back into Euphoria as we get back into this new year.
Yeah, absolutely. This is gonna be fun. Buckle up, baby.
Buckle up, literally. Yes. Yes.
Don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and drive. And with that, have a good night. We'll see you next week.